What if Peter Pan wasn't the hero who saved children from growing up, but a predatory entity that has been abducting and murdering children for over a century, using the promise of eternal childhood to lure victims into a realm of death and forgetting? We're about to explore how one of literature's most beloved characters was originally conceived as a demon who feeds on children's lives, and how sanitized adaptations have hidden the true horror of Neverland. Most people know Peter Pan through Disney's 1953 animated film or countless family-friendly adaptations that present him as a mischievous but ultimately heroic boy who teaches children to fly and protects them from the evil Captain Hook. This version portrays Neverland as a magical paradise where children can play forever without the burdens of adult responsibility. Modern adaptations have systematically removed the psychological horror, the explicit violence, and the supernatural dread that defined Barrie's original vision. The transformation of Peter Pan from demonic abductor to beloved hero represents one of the most successful cover-ups in literary history. J.M. Barrie first introduced Peter Pan in his 1902 novel, The Little White Bird, but the character's roots stretch back into much darker soil. Barrie's original working title for the story wasn't Peter Pan. It was The Boy Who Hated Mothers. This reveals the author's true intentions from the very beginning. Research into Barrie's personal manuscript reveals he was obsessed with his brother David, who died at age 13 in an ice skating accident. According to family letters discovered in the 1990s, Barrie became convinced that David had achieved a kind of immortal perfection by dying young, and he spent his entire adult life trying to recreate that frozen moment of eternal childhood. The name Peter Pan itself carries sinister implications that most readers miss. Pan, the Greek god of the wild, was known for his ability to inspire panic. Pan was a creature of chaos who lived in liminal spaces between civilization and wilderness, known for luring humans into forests where they would become lost forever. Ancient Greek texts describe Pan as a seducer of children, using his flute to entrance them and lead them away from their families. Barrie wasn't subtle about this connection. In his personal notes, he wrote, "Peter's flute calls to something dark in every child's heart, the desire to abandon everything safe and known." The Pied Piper of Hamelin provides another crucial influence. This medieval German legend tells of a man who lured 130 children out of the town of Hamelin in 1284, and they were never seen again. Barrie explicitly referenced the Pied Piper in his early drafts, describing Peter as the piper who plays the tune that children cannot resist. The Disney version presents Peter Pan's recruitment of the darling children as a playful adventure, but Barrie's original text reveals a much more sinister process. Peter doesn't stumble upon Wendy, John, and Michael by accident. He has been stalking them for weeks, learning their routines, their fears, and their weaknesses. In the 1904 stage play, Peter's first appearance isn't magical or whimsical. He creeps through the nursery window while the children sleep, studying them like a predator evaluating prey. The stage directions preserved in the Lord Chamberlain's collection at the British Library describe Peter as moving with unnatural silence and watching the sleeping children with an expression of terrible hunger. Peter's technique follows a consistent pattern. He targets children who feel neglected or misunderstood, promising them a place where they'll never be ignored or forced to grow up. But once they reach Neverland, the children discover they can't return home. Modern adaptations present the conflict between the Lost Boys and Captain Hook's pirates as a game of adventure. But Barrie's original text describes a genuine war with real casualties. Manuscript evidence from the University of Edinburgh's Barrie collection shows that the author originally wrote detailed death scenes for numerous lost boys. Children don't just disappear when they get too old. They're systematically eliminated through what Barrie called the thinning. In deleted passages recovered by literary scholars, Peter explains the thinning to Wendy. When the boys grow too big, they forget how to be properly lost, so they have to go away forever. The euphemistic language conceals the reality that Peter personally kills any lost boy who shows signs of maturity. Several Victorian-era drafts suggest that Captain Hook and his crew are former lost boys who managed to escape Peter's control by growing up despite his efforts to prevent it. The hook that replaces the captain's hand isn't the result of a crocodile attack. It's a permanent reminder of what happens to children who try to leave Neverland. The most chilling evidence comes from Barry's personal correspondence with his friend Arthur Conan Doyle. In a letter dated November 15, 1903, Barry wrote, "Peter isn't a boy at all, Arthur. He's something much older and more terrible, wearing the shape of a child. I've created a demon boy, and I'm not sure I can control what he might do." The original Peter Pan was described as having eyes that had seen too much and a laugh that held no warmth or joy, only the sound of dead leaves in autumn wind. This wasn't a child's laughter. It was something ancient and hungry, wearing a child's voice. Barry's notes reveal that he based Peter's appearance on children who had died young, using photographs from mortuaries and hospitals as reference material. The result was a character who looked like a living child but carried the stillness and otherworldly quality of the dead. Victorian audiences found Peter deeply unsettling, though they couldn't quite figure out why. The most horrifying aspect of the original Peter Pan was that Peter doesn't just kill the lost boys who grow too old. He somehow absorbs their youth to maintain his own eternal childhood. Folk tales from across Europe describe similar entities, creatures that feed on innocence and joy, leaving their victims as hollow shells. The Romanian Strigoi Mort and the Slavic Domovoi both share characteristics with Barry's original Peter, supernatural beings who appear as children but consume the life force of actual children to maintain their existence. Neverland itself isn't a place but a state of being, a liminal realm between life and death where stolen children exist in a perpetual present tense, unable to remember their past or imagine their future. If Peter Pan isn't truly a boy, what is he? Victorian occult texts describe entities called eternal children, spirits of the dead who refuse to move on to whatever comes after life. These beings become trapped in a state of perpetual hunger, consuming the life force of living children to maintain their existence in the physical world. Could the pirates be former lost boys who aged despite Peter's control? Manuscript evidence suggests that Hook's crew all bear similar scars that could indicate they once belonged to Peter before somehow breaking free. Their knowledge of Neverland's secret places and their understanding of Peter's weaknesses support this theory. Perhaps most disturbing, if Peter Pan represents an eternal entity that has existed for centuries, how many children has he claimed throughout history? Medieval European records show unexplained disappearances of children that follow patterns similar to those described in Barry's work. Could Peter Pan be based on a genuine fear that has plagued humanity for generations? The transformation of Peter Pan from demonic predator to beloved hero reveals how effectively society can suppress uncomfortable truths about its most cherished stories. Publishers, filmmakers, and cultural institutions have systematically removed every trace of Barry's original vision, creating a sanitized myth that serves to hide the genuine horror lurking beneath. Children still disappear every year, vanishing without explanation from their homes and families. While law enforcement focuses on human predators, they never consider that some disappearances might have supernatural causes. Could Peter Pan still be active, using his eternal youth and innocent appearance to continue his work across the generations? We tell ourselves these are just stories, just harmless fantasies designed to delight children and adults alike. But Barry knew better. In his final letter about Peter Pan, written shortly before his death, he wrote, "I created him to warn people, not to entertain them. I pray that someday someone will understand the danger I was trying to reveal." The boy who never grows up isn't a hero. He's a predator who has been hunting children for over a century. He's a metaphor for everything bad that can happen to a child and the loss of innocence. But somewhere along the line, the metaphor was lost, and the real essence of Peter Pan was transformed into something more palatable for modern audiences. The most terrifying truth isn't that Peter Pan was based on something real. It's that he never stopped being real. In every playground where strangers offer candy, in every online space where predators pose as friends, in every situation where children are lured away from safety by promises of adventure and escape from grown-up rules, Peter Pan is still there, still calling, still promising that growing up is the enemy, that family is a burden, that flying away with him is freedom.